Well, a lot to get to already this week. That's because there's one thing Democrats are good at, and that is trying to destroy this great country of ours. As I've told you before, they'll stop at nothing. It's 24/7, 365 for them. They hate America and what it stands for with a religious zeal. And while most of the Democrats in power want to do it to stay in power and increase their control over your life even further, they have convinced the masses here in America that voting blue, that it's actually, quote unquote, justice to destroy the country that has given them and the world so much. And that was the first in history to be founded on freedom. The freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom of self-defense from the government itself. Take this into consideration from MSNBC and Politico and watch it with the knowledge that everything the Democrats are doing is to destroy this country. And suddenly this kind of thing, well, it makes a lot more sense. Here it is.
The one thing that unites all of them, because there's many different groups orbiting Trump, but the thing that unites them as Christian nationalists, not Christians, by the way, because Christian nationalists is very different, is that they believe that our rights as Americans, as all human beings, don't come from any earthly authority. They don't come from Congress. They don't come from the Supreme Court. They come from God.
That's right. Notice how they present that as though it's a bad idea, an extreme belief. To believe that your rights come from God, except that's exactly what our founding fathers believed and wrote in our founding documents. In fact, it's what I believe. But tell me, how many of our fellow Americans do you think actually know that? How many people, say younger than 30, do you think know about this country? It isn't many, sadly. In fact, many Americans don't know much about anything at all. Brought to you, of course, by the Democrat takeover of our education system. Government schools give us, well, they give us this. Listen.
Do you know how many stars there are on the U.S. flag?
52.
Yes. What state is Utah in?
Michigan.
Yes. Do you know what state Utah is in?
Utah, to be honest with you, I never heard of that place ever in my life. I live under a rock.
Can you name 3 countries besides the USA? Any 3. You know this.
Canada. New Mexico. Right? That's good?
Yeah.
Damn, I need one more. Damn.
Yeah, so you got Canada, New Mexico, and what?
Damn. I need to go back to school.
Do you know how many states there are in total in the U.S.?
100.
How many continents are there?
3.
Continents?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know what 2 countries border the U.S.?
So bordered?
Yeah, like on the borders.
The only border I know is Puerto Rico and Mexico.
Well, yeah, that's quite a lesson right there, isn't it? Trust me, that video keeps getting worse and worse. These people will be voting in the upcoming election, provided they know what voting is. This is all by design, of course. The left wants to make the masses ever more ignorant. They're easier to control that way. And if we all knew why this country was formed, nobody would be a Democrat anyway. So they have to dumb these people down, as many as possible. And I'm sure if you asked most Americans on the street, if our rights come from God, they wouldn't know what in the world you were talking about. That's what the left is banking on. Banking on. All they care about is that the average American gets in their head that anything about God is extremism. It's hate speech and shouldn't be involved in politics in any way without punishment because God is a threat to them. If our rights come from God, which of course they do, that means they can't take those rights away, which of course they can't. They can't have Americans believing that. Now, can they? They want Americans to think government is God. Government is God and can do anything. Omnipresent.